right, y'all. So we are back at the Watkins Roundtable, and this is Shannon Watkins, our lovely team leader, associate broker, and I'm Kendall, your host, one of your agents at Watkins Real Estate. So I had some questions for Shannon. So now that we're in November, we're getting towards the end of the year, and we just had a big election go on, which was a historic, I think they said it was historic, but anyway. So a lot of people think that it affects the real estate market, and so I thought, let's ask an agent her thoughts on it. So now that the election is over, what do you think that does for the real estate market?
I think it allows buyers and sellers to relax, right? Because there was so much like uncertainty, what's going to happen. Now, from a regular standpoint, the election really doesn't impact us that much,
right?
You know, but everyone around this time of year, every 4 years, they kind of freeze up and they just feel like there's so much uncertainty. And I get historic election, I've been around for so many now at this point. It's just like, whatever, they're all historic. We get a new president. It's great. It's bad. It is what it is. Anyways, so we have
Tell me your real thoughts.
We have a new president-elect now, yay. And then hopefully now people will kind of feel like, okay, the uncertainty is removed.
Right.
So now we can move forward with our plans. We've half of our objections for the last 2-3 months in our sales trainings have been, I'm going to wait to list till after the elections. I'm going to wait to buy to after the elections. Whatever your feelings are, elections are now over. So let's move
you're
forward.
ready to buy a house or sell your house.
Exactly. The one thing that will happen is financially, some of interest rates will kind of get to where they're going to be. So then we should have some stability in the market. Again, this happens after every election. What is being predicted right now is that the first quarter of 2025 is going to have a 9% increase over the first quarter of 2024. And it is supposed to be the best first quarter in like over a decade or something. It's something crazy. So for agents out there, get excited. This does mean that you really need to be working November and December because it takes 30 to 45 days to close, right?
Right.
So we've got to get out there and really start working, making sure that we're not slacking off too much during the holidays. And then we should see a really good first quarter. So get excited about that. That's going to be great. For buyers and sellers, all I can tell you is it's always a good time to buy. It's always a good time to sell. It's all personal. It's relative, right? If I want to sell my house because I want to be closer to my grandchild, it's a good time to sell, right?
So why do you think that now that election is over, there will be more affordable housing? Like, what does that have to do with the election? Do you think because of the election, the prices went up, and then now that it's over, it's going back down? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I think all of that's driven by media, but I mean, I don't think affordable housing is going to be any different than it was on November 23rd. So in general, this is state ran, not president ran. Right. So your local elections are so much more important.
Yeah.
So because I can find you affordable housing. Now, do you want to live there? Maybe not. Right. So affordable housing is relative. I know with prices going up, people are going to immediately feel like, well, then there's not affordability. Well, it's all in how much can you afford, how much are interest rates, because they're going to impact your buy power. Oh, sorry, that one was me. But for the most part, affordable housing is going to be created at the local level.
Right.
So the presidential election, I don't feel impacts it as much as the media makes it out to be. I also don't want to act like the president isn't important, because of course they are. But
that was going to be my next question was, does the party actually matter in the real estate market?
I mean, I think it matters, but not to the degree that the media makes it out to be. Right?
I think all the media is crap.
Like, okay, did we sell the last time? Were we selling houses and making money when there was a Republican in the office? Mm-hmm. And were we selling houses and making money when there was a Democrat in office?
And in 2008 when the market crashed. People were still selling and buying houses.
Right. Now, there are people devastated by different things, right? Some of it, like in 2008, the crash crash wasn't just real estate, it was just this huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
I, by no means want to act like people were not devastated by the crash, because there were. There were people devastated by COVID. The real estate industry boomed during COVID, right? So there's always going to be this element of there's something really good and there's something really bad. Consistency in real estate is that market trends always go up and down. But when they recover, they always recover higher than the last high point, right?
Now,
so think of a roller coaster. So if the market was here and then we crashed, when it came back up, it went just above where it was before. So every recovery comes up higher. So sometimes those are longer, right? 2008 was long. Go back to the recession and then go back to the depression. Like, yes, some of them are longer lived. So but the market's always going to rebound. At least we always hope. I don't have a crystal ball.
So who does that benefit more? Does it benefit sellers more or buyers more, or both? When it continues to go up, in your opinion, because these are all, I mean, they're factual, but at the end of the day, they're all our personal opinions. And so I'm asking Shannon as her personal opinion, who do you think it benefits more? Or does it benefit both the same way?
I think it's going to benefit both at a different time. So like during COVID, sellers were highly benefited, right? Benefiting because prices were super high and buyers were not benefiting.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I say they weren't benefiting, but yet then the interest rates dropped to like 2%.
Yeah.
So though they were overpaying for the property, they had these really low interest rates. So now the sellers that could truly, truly benefit are the sellers that want to sell. They have a 2% interest rate and their loan is assumable. Those people can benefit dramatically, right? But in general, as we see more homes coming on the market, prices will kind of trend down a little, but more buyers will be able to afford because the home prices have come down and interest rates have stabilized.
Okay.
So it's so personal in what are you trying to, like, what are you expecting out of the market as a buyer and as a seller?
Yeah.
If a buyer wants to buy a house that they can afford and they can find it, they win. If a seller wants to sell their house and need to make $20,000 and they can do it, they win.
Well, this leads me into my next question. When you say, what do they expect? Like, I feel like they expect prices to go back down to 2%. And
interest rates, not happening.
Thank you. That's kind of where I wanted to go with that is, what was it about COVID that made them go to 2%, and why will it not go back there?
I so wish I understood the economy like better.
Me too.
But I think those people are just really crazy smart. We'd love to have one on the show though. We should get in.
Logan does day trading. Like, he reads the markets and like talks about price action, and I'm telling you,
we need a real economist though.
Well,
he does predictions and stuff. Not that he's not, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah,
he is, but you know what I'm saying.
But we'll get somebody on here.
But I think like it's one of those things where the interest rates, in my opinion, I feel like they dropped so much because home prices were so high, right? So like it's the market is trying to balance and level out to a degree.
Supply and demand.
Right. But then when you think of like affordable housing, like I don't know what people mean when they say affordable housing. I get the basics. Right? We have people that can't afford a home.
Okay, so what I think about is prior to, in 2020, I paid $1.25 for gas. Took me $25 to fill up my tank. Now I pay almost $3, $2.85, something like that.
But if you were working at McDonald's, you were making $9 an hour, and now you're making $15 an hour.
Yeah, and that's true, because now I think about, well, it takes me 45, so it's double that, but at the end of the day, like, I still need gas. So I'm still going to get gas, and I'm still, like, the higher paying jobs are going to give you the money to pay for it. So, I mean, I don't really know how I think about that, but when I think about affordable, I think I would rather have something that costs me 25 instead of 45, but to me, like, I still need gas no matter what. So if I have an empty gas tank, I'm still going to go get gas
And you
But
need a
would I
place to
rather-
live no
yeah.
matter what.
Exactly. Do I want a $500,000 house? Absolutely. Could I afford it? Yeah. If I was in debt,
Right.
would I rather pay for a really nice house that's $300,000? Absolutely, all day long.
Right.
So I mean,
So I feel like that's why I feel like affordable housing is kind of relative, because if you want a house in Georgia for under $150,000, we have them. Now, you're not going to be living probably in the city, right? You're not going to probably be living in Henry County.
we might have to do a home inspection.
Right. But there are homes and you just have to live further out,
Mhm.
right? So I think affordable housing is so misused, and again, I do think it goes back to political, just rhetoric. I just feel like we do need affordable housing,
Right.
but that also comes in the form of rentals. Owning a home, it's not a right. Right? Like, it's a privilege and you should work for it, and it shouldn't be just given to you.
And you should be proud of it when you have it.
Yep.
I mean, because buying a home is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, like, coming out of college, like, living on my own, I feel better about myself. Like, I feel like I did something,
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like that goes for anybody. Like, you're proud of it.
Right. But affordable housing means, to me, is like, everyone deserves a roof over their head.
Agreed.
But that could be a rental.
Agreed.
Right? It doesn't have to be purchasing. The American dream, yes, purchase, own a home, but you should work for that.
Well, then that leads me into my next question of...
Someone is definitely going to hate us after this conversation.
It's fine. Put it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
And I love other people's opinions. I mean, because again, it's opinion-based, right? I mean...
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is you have to be a free thinker. Like, you don't have to think something just because somebody tells you to. Be a free thinker. Think on your own, but I like to get other people's perspectives, because if I think that mine's the only way, then I'm never going to make it in real
I'm definitely going to
estate.
lead you astray, too, if you want to follow me.
But that led into my next question of, what are your thoughts about rent rates? What do you think is a reasonable price for rent?
So again, what's the area? What are you paying for? Right? What dictates price? Location. First thing is location, right? And then obviously quality of house and livable standards and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like, take a house in Atlanta to rent. Right now, I just bought a property in Atlanta. I'm putting it on the market for rent. The rent on this house, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, starter home style, older house, good solid bone stuff. It will rent for $2,400 to $2,600 a month.
That's a lot.
Yep. Put that house right here, I'm gonna get $1,800 a month.
That's so true, because when I lived in Buckhead and I had a 2-bedroom, was not compared to what I had in Locust Grove,
right?
Because it was in the heart of Buckhead, so
Right.
It was $21,000, but
$2,100.
$2,100. Girl, if I paid $21,000 for that kind of apartment, good lord! But no, I think that's something that all of our renters need to know, is it's all based on.
And that's what I
location.
said. If you need a $500 a month rental, they are out there. So I think creating affordable housing where people need to live is a little bit different than just saying we need affordable housing.
Well, in today's market, if we're saying that there is rentals for $500,000, now let's think of condition that they're in.
$500 a month.
$500 a month. I don't know why I can't do math. $500 a month.
I can show you some in Rome, Georgia that are 1-bedroom with a studio that are completely livable. They're not cockroach infested, but they're in Rome, Georgia. So if you work, let's say on MARTA, right? Like, you're a MARTA employee, living in Rome, Georgia doesn't make sense because of the commute.
Yeah.
So, but you can find it, right? Now, trying to find 500 downtown Atlanta? No. You should probably just go on over to the shelter, because you're not going to find 500.
You should just go to the shelter, because you're really not going to find it.
But I feel like that's what is kind of missing when you say affordable housing. And then, and then we could get into the homeless community and all that, in which I have a passion. I would love to. We're in one of the greatest countries of the world, right? Really the greatest, right? Without being arrogant. Why we have homeless it makes no sense to me. It blows my mind. but I also know that I don't trust my government to fix that problem. Right. Like I would rather private entities that actually care fix that problem, because the government just wants to take more of my money and blow it on whatever they buy. And I don't care who the president is. I don't trust him. I don't want anybody to increase my taxes and say you're going to do something when you haven't done crap. Now, give me some money and let me fix homelessness in one area. Let me do what I need to do, what I want to do. Because they're so, like, to me, that is just so disheartening. And I did a huge study at my church on homelessness, and it is devastating and it is sad. And it's more than just not having a shelter, right? A roof over their head. So I get that it's much more complicated than we might want to think it is. But at the end of the day, we should not have homeless people. Yeah. Well, it's ridiculous.
And it's funny too, because as realtors, like that's so important to us. But funny story, I am the same way about dogs. I have such a soft spot for dogs. I called my dad the other day. I saw a dog walking on the side of the street, and I was like, I'm doing something impulsive. I'm about to pick it up. And he was like, Kendall, if you don't turn that car around. And I'm like, I want a dog shelter. Like, I want all of these dogs to I just love dogs. Are you a dog person?
Yeah. I mean, I'm no animal person. I have 2 dogs. They're going to be on their way out soon.
So you didn't like that story?
No, but what I do understand about it, I don't get the practicality in it, right? Go buy 100 acres, put 75 dogs on it. Well, like, some dogs are mean, and some dogs will kill another dog. And then, like, so I don't get the practicality of it. But I guess, now that I've said that, you know what? That's probably with humans, too.
I mean, yeah. Seriously. It actually, I mean...
Maybe there's not a way to fix any of this. Oh, Jesus.
No, but I do. I mean, just... homeless people, Lord help me.
So I feel like we started all this because the elections. Basically, go buy a house now or go sell your house now. Can't fix the world problems, but what we do know is the election is behind us.
Yes.
It should be a more stable market because people now know who the president is going to be. I don't know why that makes the market more stable. I wish I understood more. I wish I was a smarter person than I am. I am not. But what I do know is all of our leads that have said we're waiting until after the election.
Can't say that now.
It's after the election. It's time. It's time to buy and sell.
Yeah, and I think another important thing as we wrap up is that trust your realtor. You know, now that the election's over, do you understand what we mean about it's not really going to do much, like you can still buy a house, you know, all this affordable talk that we talked about. Trust your realtor. There are things that you can find based on what you're looking for. Do you have any encouragement for buyers or sellers before we head out?
Well, and I just think in general, know the facts that pertain to you.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, and everyone is different. So don't call me saying, well, my friend bought a house at a 5% interest rate, blah, 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 down the street for $300,000. You don't know the situation.
Right.
They might have bought that rate down, paid extra money to get that rate. They might have a specialty loan. They might have a down payment assistance. So at the end of the day, worry about you and your facts.
Yeah.
Have a good agent on your side and a good lender on your side. And the one thing I like about our team is, and I think our company, Watkins Real Estate as a whole, if we don't think it's the right time for you to buy,
we'll tell you.
We actually tell you.
Yeah.
Like, I have talked more people out of buying homes than I have selling homes.
And I will say, I'm very adamant about saying that to my buyers. Yes, this is how I make a living, but I didn't get into it just to make all this money, because if you think that's how it works, you're so mistaken. I did it because I don't want people to settle. Like, I want people to get what they want, but if you can't afford it, I'm going to feel better telling you that you cannot afford it than putting you in debt and being like, well, got my paycheck. Then, and I'm sure there are some bad agents like that, but that is not why I got into real estate.
Yeah, I would say, you know, interview agents. Like, if you don't have one in your pocket that you love and know, interview them.
Yes.
It is so relational. You've got to believe and understand and trust that agent, that they have your back, and the lender. Like, that you want your lender and your agent working hand in hand to help you through it. I mean, I know I've told people, they've come to me and said, oh, I'm going to buy this house and it's like $650,000, and they could afford it, technically, on paper. Is that really what you want? Do you really want that kind of mortgage?
Right.
Or do you want to go out and, like, have fun on a Friday night? Like, so just know and trust that they're going to have your back, but interview. Don't just pick the first agent that you talk to. Even if you have a great relationship with that agent, and my agents might freak out about that, but it's not about sales. If you feel like an agent is trying to sell you, that is not the right agent. So go back to the agent that you feel like you have a good relationship with and that they're going to protect you.
Well, and I think it's flipped for sellers, expired listings. We will tell you if it's overpriced. We will tell you, you have to trust the fact that we know what we're doing, and you may want all of this money, but is it worth that? Does the numbers make sense? It all comes down to trusting your realtor. If you have a $300,000 valued home and you have a realtor that tells you we can get it for $900,000, call the Shannon sales team.
Yeah, definitely.
Because and it's out there. It's just pricing is everything. So for buyers and sellers, it goes on both ends. If you want your house to sell or you want to buy a house, you have to trust your realtor. You have to, interview them, and price is everything.
Yep.
And that's all we got for today.
Good. I'm tired.
Well, thanks. We appreciate it. We will have our numbers and emails linked below. If you guys are looking for a realtor, please call the Shannon sales team.